Welcome back to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations from leaders in digital infrastructure. I'm Buffy Harakitis of JSA, and we are live from Data Cloud Global Congress in beautiful, sunny Cannes, France, for day 2 of this amazing show. And joining me today is Tom Glover. He is the head of data center transactions for EMEA region for JLL. Welcome.
Thank you, Buffy. Nice to be here.
Yes, it's an honor to have you here today. So let's just start with a broad question to kick it off. What's one theme or trend that's dominated the conversations about the market this year?
Wow. I mean, good question to kick it off with, but is there really just one theme? You've asked that question. So the one thing that I would focus in on is artificial intelligence. It's the hot topic, has been for the last couple of years now. But I'm going to tie a few other threads to that statement.
Please do.
I'm going to tie in talent as well. And probably first off, I'm going to kick into the idea of design and the importance of design for AI. So AI is the technological evolution of something that's been going on for 20 plus years. You've got, and what's enabled it to become sort of mainstream is the improvement in chip performances, significant improvements in chip performances that enable those very complicated training models to be generated in a faster time frame than taking years potentially. So you've got the chips that are quite power hungry, require a lot of cooling in the data center, AI sucking up all of that power to build these training models. And then you've got NVIDIA, who are the main producer, 80+% of the market share for chip production and delivery, that these AI models are dependent on. And they're making improvements to their product. Improvements that are taking their latest GB or H100 chip all the way up to, in the next 3 years, to using 650 kilowatts of power per chipset. So in each rack, 120 kilowatts of cooling and design is a lot. Big engineering challenge. Dealing with 650 kilowatts is a huge challenge. And I think that factor, if anything, 2024 was a very, very rapid year of growth for the sector. Every year's been big in growth. But 2025, we have seen a little bit of a pause, slowdown in the deployment of new data centers. And and it's a personal view now, but I believe that is driven in part, if not significantly in part, by this requirement that the design of the future data center needs to adapt to enable 650 kilowatts, maybe even more in the future, of power consumption and heat generation in the same amount of space. And that takes time. It is a quantum leap. So AI, design, and I mentioned talent as well. I'll just touch a little bit on that.
Please do. It's a very important topic.
Our sector is underwhelmed by talent, quite frankly. We do not have enough resource to continue the growth that we're experiencing. Within JLL, we've got a number of programs to address that. And my point here to anybody listening is we should all be doing something to try and encourage more talent into the industry to support the AI and the cloud growth of the major market makers, businesses. We've got a LEAP program that looks at enabling new talent into the data center market that we run. We've got Meta program with Meta in collaboration with JLL that looks at bringing new talent into the industry. On a personal level, when we started the data center practice across EMEA 5 years ago now, within 6 months, I brought in 2 graduates into our team. These are graduates that go through a rotational structure within JLL, doing different disciplines. Nobody had ever done the data center discipline. Today, fast forward 5 years, within my team across EMEA, we've got 4 employees within that team. They're not even 4 team members that went through the graduate program, did different disciplines, including data centers, and loved the data center space. Once people see the data center space, they get excited by it.
Exactly, because it's always growing, always evolving. There's always a challenge.
And it's interesting. It's never the same job. So when we show people, young and old, what data centers are about, and we give them just that little bit of a taster through a graduate program, through some training initiatives, they see it and I want to be a part of that. I didn't get into data centers intentionally. 17 years ago, I was in the software industry, and I just got lucky. Somebody said to me, a CEO of a company, "Do you want to join us?" And I said, "What is it? Data center? I don't know. Just join us. Trust me. It's
And
going
now
to be
here we are
growing."
today, where the data centers are literally transforming the world as we know it.
Our digital economy is absolutely dependent, and it's not just a country; it's a global economy.
Global, definitely. Well, I think you talked a little bit about the overview of the market, especially the EMEA data center market. We're here in 2025, believe it or not, halfway through. We're in June of 2025. The momentum that we saw in 2024, you talked a little bit about, you're seeing a little bit of a slowdown there. Do you want to give a little bit more details
Elaborate
on that?
a little bit on
Yes,
that.
please.
So when I say a slowdown, I do not mean inactivity.
Well, definitely not.
The activity it's
Buzzing.
increasing still. That accelerator is down to the floor, and we have never been this busy in our life in the industry. So it's not that the industry's slowing down. It's just that decisions are taking a little bit longer. People are reviewing the process. When you talk about designs, you've got to get it as right as you possibly can before you invest $3, $4, $5 billion into that next piece of land that you just acquired to build your next hyperscale gigasite or whatever it's going to be. You get that wrong, you can be sinking that money into the ground and it being useful for the next 3 years, but then the Rubin Ultra chip comes out, 650 kilowatts, and your design can't use it. Where's the sense in that?
Yeah.
So it's not a slowdown. I think it's people looking at what they're doing, thinking that it's not future-proofed enough. I'd do the same.
Yeah, future-proof is key to the success of anything, but especially in our industry, because the change is so fast, it's so rapid, right? They're saying that what they used to change out every 3 years, they're changing out every year now. So these designs have to be adaptable.
And the costs of those
flexible,
new chips
scalable.
have gone up.
Right.
It's not like you're paying £3,000 a chip, you're paying $60,000, you're paying $100,000. So the cost implications of making the wrong decision are far more great.
Definitely. So you think they're just being a little more strategic in their decisions and not jumping head first?
Yes. In short, yes.
Yeah.
And they're trying to look at what's coming through. And one of the topics we won't talk in detail about, but quantum computing, let's just put it out there as...
That's next.
That's the next thing.
Yeah, it's coming.
They know about the 650 kilowatt Rubin chips, but what's quantum compute going to do to the data center?
Right. We have to be ready for that.
We need to be thinking about it now. So we can be ready for it. Yeah.
Exactly. The rising rental rates, they're heightened, right? And due to these supply constraints that we're hearing about, how do you see tenant landlord dynamics evolving across EMEA specifically, and what role does sector specific expertise play in navigating these negotiations?
Two separate questions, but they're very much aligned. They interact. So rental rates, yes. After COVID, infrastructure costs started going up. The price of steel, take a simple thing, it doubled in price. Timelines extended out for delivery of critical infrastructure that is required for a data center operation. As a result, the operator, the developer, their cost base has gone up. And yes, there has been a 13-14% increase in the rental rates for capacity in data centers. So the statement I broadly agree with. There is actually a positive spin on it, though. What I've also seen in that dynamic between operator and market maker, I don't call the hyperscalers. Their business is software, it's services. That's who is their end customer? It's you, it's me, it's our corporations. They are the market makers, though, for our industry. And what I've seen is that there's more transparency coming out. So costs have been going up. The operators and their investors want to keep their margins as similar as they were previously. And one of the ways, in a positive way, I've seen that being enabled is by more transparency, by more open communication, by sharing the data points that historically would have been, quite frankly, in negotiation terms, kept hidden. I'm not telling you my cost base. I'm not explaining to you what it's costing me to build this facility. My cost is 100 euros per kilowatt, whatever the number was. But now it's nudged up, let's say, to 115 or wherever. The explanation behind that increase by 15% is being shared. That's a good thing because it then triggers better negotiations. And one of the things I do like seeing in the industry is negotiating from an open book type of approach. Not everybody's doing it yet. There's a number of companies now where the operator and their investor are open to that discussion with their customer, whoever it is, at a significant scale, to say, here's our costings, here's our expectations on returns, work with us on it. And yeah, there's always a bit of tweaking, but so transparency would be the positive spin on it all.
Transparency sounds like the key.
Communication.
Yeah.
You talk to somebody, collaborate with somebody, you're going to get a better result. And ultimately, everybody is interested in that better result.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to touch base on when it comes to that sector-specific expertise?
Yeah, I'm going to be selfish here. I'm going to talk about JLL because that's my bag of tricks. Where we're in a privileged position in JLL, and we believe this, we behave in this way. Unlike being just, I've worked for an operator. You know, I worked at Interaction under David Ruberg years ago. I've worked on the M&A, working in the capital market space. I've worked in real estate for 8 years now. And one of my experiences of the real estate space at JLL is that we touch so many different parts of that value chain creation within the data center industry, from market intelligence and advisory and consultancy, all the way through to running data centers and operating them, and everything in between that, buying, selling land, buying, selling companies. So we get all these different lenses that we look at the same industry through. That is a privileged position. What that enables in our conversations with our clients, ultimately, and as experts, is to be able to bring those different perspectives to their often singular lens view of the world. So pulling in, joining lots of dots up that can then give them good advice and help inform the strategy, help inform what they do next, how they do it next, their design ideas, as a sounding board. We will never tell people that we know exactly what to be doing, but sector expertise from JLL is a broad brush with some real deep domain understanding that brings value to most conversations.
Definitely. I mean, in today's evolving landscape, I think having that sector expertise, plays the most critical role of all.
And it's not just from a real estate point of view. I worked for an operator. I've got a guy in the team that he's just moving to Dubai, who ran all of IBM's data centers. We've got somebody that operated and ran Telehouse's data centers in Docklands. We've got people that are actually worked at the coalface of what this means, and that you put that alongside real estate domain expertise that JLL has got coming.
Yeah, there's no comparison.
It's an interesting combination.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's much needed in our space as we continue to grow and evolve.
Yeah.
In the EMEA region, and JLL is global, so
everywhere,
no matter where you are,
we're there.
JLL is there. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on
Nothing.
an amazing episode of JSA TV here with JLL, one of the biggest in the industry. We're so honored to talk to you today. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in to another episode of JSA TV from Data Cloud, Global Congress in Cannes, France. Happy networking.